Chapter 4.10 on simple interest and a bonus section on the idea of compound interest. Now, first of all, what is interest? Well, interest is simply an amount of money that the borrower would pay to a lender for using a principal amount of money. So for instance, if you had put money into the bank, then you are the lender and the bank is the borrower. So the borrower, the bank in this case, would be giving you, the lender, some interest for depositing some money. On the other hand, if you go to the bank and you borrow money for a loan or a mortgage or something like that, then you would become the borrower and you would need to then pay interest for the amount of money that you borrowed from the bank. Now, the principal amount of money, that refers to the amount of money that is borrowed or lent. Now, to calculate simple interest, it's actually pretty easy. The standard formula that we use is the principal amount in dollars multiplied by the interest rate, which is expressed as a percentage, and multiply that by time, and usually that is expressed in years. So when you multiply all that together, then that will give you the amount of interest that is earned. So here's an example to start us off. So Sandra deposited $230 in the bank. If she earns an interest rate of 8.5% per A standing for annum, which means year, then how much will she earn after 4 months? And then what would the total in her bank account be? So take a couple minutes and see if you can calculate the answers to these questions and then check your answer. So to calculate the amount of interest that she will earn, we simply use the interest formula, principal times rate times time. So we substitute the values in there. So the principal was 230. The interest rate was 8.5%, so we need to change that to a decimal, so that would be 0.085. And then since we're only looking at 4 months out of the year, then we will have to change that 4 months into a year format, so therefore it will be 4 out of 12. So 4/12 of the year. So when we calculate that, Sandra earns $6.52 in interest. So the total in her bank account then at the end of 4 months will then be equal to the principal amount that she started with plus the interest that she earned. So therefore she started off with $230. She earned $6.52 in interest, so therefore the total sitting in her bank account after 4 months will be $236.52. Now, for those of you who really want to earn some money, compound interest is much more interesting. Now, what is compound interest? Well, compound interest calculates interest on top of the interest that you already earned. So you accumulate money much quicker this way. So what I have here is an example. Just calculate the interest earned and the closing balance after 1 year of investing the given principal amount. So here I got a table set up, and we're going to pretend to invest $1,000. So the interest rate, I'm going to tell you, is 6% per year. Go and calculate the interest that's earned after 1 year and what the closing balance would be. So take a quick moment here to calculate these values and then check your answers. Okay, so to calculate the interest earned, you simply take the $1,000, multiply that by 0.06, and you should get yourself $60. So at the end of that year, if you've earned $60, but you started off with $1,000, then you should have $1,060. So this is just a simple example of simple interest. Now, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. If we were then to reinvest our money, let's say we did not withdraw any of this money that we've earned. So in year 2, our closing balance from year 1 would then be our opening balance for year 2. Now we're going to keep our interest rate the same at 6%, but now what's going to happen is when we calculate the interest earned, we're calculating it on a higher value than originally from year 1. So we're going to calculate this value, then calculate the closing balance, and then we're going to do the same thing in year 3, assuming that the interest rate is the same. So take a few moments to calculate these values, then check your answers. Okay, so in year 2 then, if we calculate the interest earned, it would be $1,060 multiplied by 0.06. In this second year, we would earn $63.60, and therefore our closing balance will now be up to $1,123.60. So this closing balance then will become our opening balance in year 3. So if we take this amount multiplied by 0.06, we figured out we get $67.42 interest after year 3. So our final closing balance after 3 years would then be $1,191.02. Not bad. So, what are some general things that you noticed? Well, if you take a look at our table here, the question is, what happens to the interest that we earn each year? Well, if we take a look at these values, well, what's happening to these interest rates? Well, the interest rates stay the same, but the amount of interest we actually earn increases, and that's simply because our opening balances for each year increases as well. So why is this called compound interest? This is simply called compound interest because we're making money on top of interest that we have earned. So the interest is compounding as time goes by. So the nice thing here is that as long as we don't take any of the money out, then we continually make more money on top of the money we've already earned. And that is the idea known as compound interest. So hopefully this video has helped you to understand a little bit about simple interest and compound interest. And that's it for this section.